This video is to roughly document the rebuilding of a Yamaha RD350 front brake master cylinder. The specific repair is being performed on the 1973 Yamaha RD350 in the background. This motorcycle has approximately 7,200 miles on it as of the publishing of this video. I purchased the bike locally in 2019 and have enjoyed the bikes on weekends since. During a recent ride, I had some brake fluid begin to run down the front brake lever. Inspection showed some damaged rubber and dirty brake fluid. I ordered 2 sets of rebuild kits from a popular online seller. My father was also needing a rebuild kit for his 1974 RD350. In addition to the rebuild kit, I ordered a brake line boot cover, reservoir diaphragm, and side stand rubber damper, unrelated to this project. It's hard to see, but when applying pressure, there is some fluid seeping out of the bottom. I do have the correct front fender for this motorcycle, and I'm hopeful to have it on later at some point in this video. Removal of the master cylinder is simple. As brake fluid is corrosive, it's important to protect any surfaces of the motorcycle. First, I removed the banjo bolt. I believe this was a 12 or 13 millimeter bolt. I first had to uncover the boot cover. Then I unbolted the 2 bolts holding the master cylinder to the handlebar. These are both 10 millimeter. Again, you want to watch for any leaks while you're doing this. While you're disassembling, you want to make note of any condition, orientation of parts. It's always important to take pictures of photos, make a video or 2. That's also kind of why I'm making this video for others. With everything removed, I'm just taking a brass brush and kind of lightly cleaning up the hardware. I could put it in a parts washer or something, just kind of lightly cleaning this up so I can get it reassembled. As I take these parts off, I'm trying to note the order in which I remove them by laying them out in order. I've always been bad at this step, so hence why I'm taking the video to kind of help document this process. I'm going to go ahead and drain out the rest of the brake fluid that's left in the reservoir. Looking at the reservoir once it's drained showed quite a bit of sediment. The lip of my reservoir is cracked, and it has appeared that someone has tried to repair it at some point.
We've got our 5/8 master cylinder OEM. We pulled everything out. Cap, hard plastic, soft plastic. The boot, top boot, which this is the replacement for. Circlip there, we have one of those. And then we have the entire plunger. And this is really the big difference. The length is not the same. This matches, but I don't have any of this in the kit. And what looks like is happening is I'm going to put that copper bit against this, and then what's going to happen is, as you can see, this is the original spring. It's shorter than what they sent me. Now I have this rubber cap, so it almost looks like they're making up the space, and then it's going to go that, but there's nothing that actually sticks them together, so it's kind of on me to figure that out. This gets shipped not cut right. I've already stepped this up twice now to drill it. I'm about to go to 9/64ths off of an 1/8. I'm just slowly walking it up. I don't want to make it bigger than it needs to be.
The tiny metal cap on the end of the spring has come off, and I'm trying to work it back on. The kit claims that you need to likely make the diameter of the hole on the end cap larger, to which I chose to step up with some drill bits and an electric drill. This likely wasn't the best way to do this. I'm sure there's a better way. Like I said, unfortunately, I took the metal cap off the end, which was held on by 3 tabs to the end of the spring. I was able to get those bent back on really without too much trouble. Just probably added an extra 10 minutes to my process. With that back on, I'm going to show you a quick side-by-side of the old versus the new master cylinder assembly, at least the internal, so you can have a quick side-by-side. The new parts have fresh brake fluid on them. I'm about to attempt the installation, but you're going to see that I'm going to have some issues. The bore of the cylinder wasn't as prepped as it needed to be, which I initially tried to ignore. I used a small piece of foam and shaved it down to close to the diameter of the master cylinder bore. And then I attached that foam to a stick with some super glue, and then you also use some super glue to attach some 600 grit sandpaper to the foam. I used this to smooth the bore out of the master cylinder. As the video progresses, I'll take the plunger in and out a few times as I'm experiencing too much friction between the plunger and the cylinder bore. The installation order for the new kit is to start with the spring wide end towards the bottom or the end towards the banjo bolt. then it's that copper flat washer, then the plunger, then the snap ring, then the rubber boot. It looks like I'm grabbing the grease provided in the kit because I'm having friction issues. When I'd pressed down, there was a clear line of friction that needed to be overcome. It made the pressing feel like two motions rather than one continuous one. I could press the plunger in about 30% before being met with a hard stop. Exerting extra force could overcome this and let the plunger proceed the remaining 70-ish%. After cleaning the bore, this was no longer an issue. The video shows me trying to use a small snap ring plier I got from a local hardware store. Save yourself the time and the headache and just order one of these if you don't already have one. Buy something that looks like just like what's on the screen. I think I paid about $12 for this on a popular online retailer. It took one day of me spending about 2 hours trying to get this to work with a variety of tools that wasn't made for the job, to literally taking less than 5 minutes once I actually had the right tool. Once I had the snap ring in place, the rubber boot needed to be seated. I ended up destroying the boot my first time around on this as I got too aggressive trying to get it to seat. I ended up purchasing a second kit, this time from a different online retailer. I was much more careful with the second boot that I purchased. I was able to put it on with just my fingers. Initially, I was trying to use a flat-bladed screwdriver and a pick, that's of course why I destroyed the boot. Take your time. It really is not that hard to get it on there. Once the internals were assembled, I then attach it back to the handlebar. I replaced my copper crush washers with the ones shown here in the photo. I will say I bought these in like a bulk pack online. They really weren't the correct, they were the correct inner diameter, but I think there was too much material for them to crush properly. I ended up ordering some from a different manufacturer, different online retailer for a different motorcycle project I was working for. I just ordered some, included those with shipping. I ended up replacing those and they fit better and they did not leak like these ones did. With the master cylinder mounted back to the handlebars, you just need to attach your banjo bolt and then you need to go through the process of filling up your reservoir and then bleeding the brake fluid. I found that very easy on this motorcycle. It wasn't really in depth or involved. I don't even think I used half of a bottle. The biggest thing for this is folks that are having issues bleeding this system. That little tiny hole in the reservoir, when you're looking in there, that little tiny hole, that can get clogged throughout the process. Very fortunate for me, I never really saw it ever get clogged. I think at one point I saw a little bit of sediment in there, but it did not stay and it did not cause me any issues for bleeding the master cylinder. Bike runs fantastic now, no braking issues, definitely firmed that front brake lever up. Hopefully this kind of helps, just, even if it's just some diagrams or some of the side-by-sides of what you're going to get, what you're going to get into. I would definitely advise skipping around this video to find what's relevant to you. Apologize, it's not a step-by-step, but at least some insight as to anybody who might be about to tackle this themselves. Thank you.